Hi, welcome to my channel, Rohit Speaks. And in today's video, we're going to talk about is high blood pressure, or also called as hypertension. So you might have heard about this term where a person is suffering from high BP or high blood pressure. So we're going to talk about in today's video, what does that mean? You might have also know what exactly her blood pressure is, but in today's video, we're going to get a little bit more in depth about it, what causes it, and how to live with high blood pressure. So high blood pressure is also called in scientific community hypertension. And there are several reasons which can cause this. But if I have to define what is high blood pressure, is basically when your heart is overworked to pump the blood throughout your system. And it is overworked for several reasons, and we're gonna talk why that is happening. But your heart is basically overworking to pump that blood into your body so it can survive. Okay. And you might have heard and seen there are those blood pressure monitors, or called as big bone manometer. These are the ones which they cuff you in your hand, and then they puff it up with air till it gets tightened, and then there is this blood flow which they hear or they measure. And so how it is measured is that instrument, and then there is a number called as 120 by 80. That is a normal number. But what does this number indicate? So for that, we need to understand the heart part. Okay. So in your heart, your human heart is four chambered. The top two chambers are called as atrium. The bottom two are called as ventricles. And also then there is a left part and then there is a right. So left part is responsible to pump the blood into your body. That's when it exerts the most pressure. So this is the left one. So in the diagrams, it will be, so when you look at it, it's on your right side, but technically it's your left. So assume that is the image and it just put it back here. So it's your left side, okay? So remember, so left ventricle pumps your blood into your body. So your body can use the blood, nutrients, and whatever it is for normal function. So when it pumps, it is the pumping of not just the left, but also your right ventricle. So ventricle pumping is the number indicated by 120. And then the blood has to fill into the atrium. And when it fills back in atrium and ventricle, that is the number called as 80. Okay. So pumping is the high pressure, called as 120. Filling back is the 80. And so when it is considered as high, so there are several stages. So elevated, which is just slightly above your 120, between 120 to 189, but your filling pressure is not that changed. Stage one is between 130 to 139, and your filling has increased, right? It's taking more pressure to fill your blood also into your. Stage two is at 140, and then also your diastolic. Your filling pressure is also higher. So what can cause this high blood pressure? So in the previous slide, I explained your left. Let's understand this first. So your left part pumps the blood into your body uses that, and whatever is dumped, so it uses, and then it circulates that blood back to your atria, to your right ventricle, and then it goes back into your lungs where it is oxygenated and then supplied back into left, goes here, pumped back. So that's how normally your heart works. So it has to go through this arteries and veins, and they are like larger veins and arteries, and then they get into a smaller pumping system. So what can cause high blood pressure? It can be caused by thinning of these small veins and arteries. These are really fine, very small, and they can get blocked. The blockages can be caused by many reasons. It could be by high diet, high cholesterol diet, your blood sugar, whatever it is, or you can cause that plaques. That's called. So that's what it will cause your blood flow to get obstructed. So to blood to go through that area, it will require more pressure for the blood to flow, and that will result in high blood pressure. Other issue is blood viscosity. Now, viscosity in simple terms is the thickness of your blood. So blood has to be fluid enough. If it gets viscous or it gets thicker, now that thickness can be due to more sugar in your blood, more fatty stuff in your blood, or the blood is not pumping, taking out, getting enough fluid back in from your systems. So that can be due to, I'll explain that in the kidney part, but blood viscosity or the thickness of your blood can increase. And then when your heart function, the heart itself is compromised. Basically, if you have mutations or any genetic disorder in affecting your heart muscles, then your heart itself cannot pump that high or that much. So it has to overwork itself to sustain your body. And that can lead to high blood pressure. So these are the three reasons. Now, what can cause this are several ways it can be done. So I talked about thinning of the arteries. So thinning of the arteries can be either there's a blockage due to high cholesterol, or due to plaque forming, or whatever it is, due to aging, or that area got blocked, that can cause high blood pressure. Viscosity, I explained, it could be that your blood is getting thicker because there is high blood sugar or high cholesterol or something which is not. So your blood normally takes nutrients and gives it to your organs, all your organs, and collects back water and waste, and then goes through your excretory system to remove the waste and then go back to the lungs, right? But when there is an imbalance of salt and your excretory system cannot remove excess of, cannot do its job of removing the waste, your blood is still thicker with those things. And excess of salt is, when I say the high sodium much, is a pretty much something which everybody is prescribed when they have high blood pressure. Why they said that? Because when there is high salt, as I explained, your excretory system will be compromised, and your blood is still thicker, and your blood has to be pumped back again. And because of high salt, also there is not enough water removal from your body as well. So your organs will retain your organs, your tissues will retain water in itself, and it won't supply back to the blood. So your blood in the meantime is getting thicker and thicker, and your organs are retaining water because of your salt imbalance. So you have to have less, or have to have low sodium and high potassium diet to get that balance back again. So viscosity and heart function, I already explained, is due to disease or some kind of issues happening, or some oxygen is not there enough. So numerous number of functions can cause that. So how to live with high blood pressure? Always active lifestyle. Active lifestyle is basically not being sedentary for too long. Have some kind of motion. Try to walk up a couple of stairs. Try to walk to small distances. Don't take car, public transport. If it is a kilometer or less, walk that distance. That will, just on an average, will help you a lot. It doesn't have to be 10,000. Like, keep yourself active. Yeah. Low salt diet, and just to create your salt balance, so your organs don't hold water, and it keeps your puts back into the blood, and blood can go back and get purified by the kidneys, because kidneys are the ones who has to remove all that stuff. So salt balance has to be maintained, hence a low salt diet. If you were into high salt, or you were eating too high salty, high fatty food, you have to bring it back down. Routine checkup. Also, nowadays there are digital blood pressure monitors. Checkup, if you already had it, you have a history of high blood pressure, have routine checkup so that you know how it's functioning, and if you have to work out or you have to check on that. Always low cholesterol diet. So cholesterol, as I explained, you don't need it technically. Your liver has enough rights to make it. Some amount can be given through your diet, but you technically don't need cholesterol or fats that much. So hopefully you can acknowledge with that have some low cholesterol diet, and balance of right macros. So right amount of proteins, your carbohydrates, your starches, or whatever it is, your vitamins and your fats. The right balance is always perfect. And you can ask a nutritionist, and they can actually tailor your food. If you are in high BP, they can give you a tailor-made food so you know what to eat for your longevity. Hopefully, with this video, I was able to explain what is high blood pressure and what are the reasons which causes the high blood pressure. Sign like those 3 reasons, and how to live with high blood pressure. It's a livable, it's not that it will cause an issue, but it's a livable condition, but you have to routinely keep a check on it. If you don't, as I said, your heart is supplying that blood to all your organs. Anywhere it is getting blocked or malfunction, that organ is going to get damaged. It can affect your brain, liver, kidney, your stomach, ulcers, intestine, whatever it is. That blood has to go everywhere. So anywhere where there is an issue, it's going to cause. So high blood pressure can lead to multiple organ damage, single organ damage, depending on where the blockage or the issue is. So maintaining a proper blood pressure and proper diet and living with it, you can survive with a high blood pressure. So it's a treatable situation. It's not that it's not something you can't treat it, but if you have high blood pressure, you have to maintain and keep a check on it. Thank you for listening to this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.